look pompous and look smug and do these grand gestures, which have worked for me because, you know, they put my face on the poster and people still buy tickets. But actually what's happening is I feel like the opposite of that.
A neurotypical person knows all of their tasks and they know what's most important.
Yeah.
So it might be, you know, get some stamps, we've run out. And there is like, oh, I've got a deadline. Or, you know, whereas an ADHD person, they're all loud. So the fact that you've got to get stamps and you've got a deadline, you can't do anything.
You've got more traction on the world than other people might. Consider not what's odd about ADHD, but see if you can define what normality is. What is a normal person? Describe someone who doesn't have any ADHD qualities or any other, you know, any other sort of neurodivergent qualities, and you find you're describing someone almost unbelievably dull.
Oh, yeah, I was going to use that very word, just dull.
Yeah, dull.
Well, I'll let you in on what's been happening here while you've been watching that. So Paul and Minna join us now. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
Everything okay?
Everything's just fine for now.
Okay, because there was a bit of a thing about who's going to sit where. We had a little bit of a moment.
I know.
You know what
You
it's
always
like,
have
Charlie.
moments.
I bet
Touch
you
and
two
go,
do
touch
that
and
every
go.
morning as well, don't you?
These are established positions, Paul.
I know,
So
it's rock solid, isn't it?
It is.
We're fluid, you see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
which is kind of where the whole podcast kicks in because there, you know, tell us first of all, Minna, about your ADHD. And you say ADHD, don't you? As in terms of people
I
who
don't have it in a carrier bag with me.
Yes.
It's my brain type. So, I'm
So tell
ADHD.
us about what's your kind of lived experience.
I got diagnosed at the age of 43 and...
Surely not. What am I doing?
That's good.
Because all the while it was diagnosed as complex trauma, but there was still something missing. So to have that diagnosis made a lot of sense for me.
And then what? What happened after that?
And then we got talking about it. It was like, oh, no, you're not. I'm ADHD, no, you're not, the title there.
Yeah.
And we were just like, let's get this out there. Let's have some discussions. Let's push the debate on what is ADHD, what is it not, how the education system is failing our neurodivergent children. Because some people erroneously think, oh, but you only interview famous people, you know, that have made it successful. But no, what about their stories up to that point? They've all suffered with depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies. They were all failed at school. None of them got qualifications, apart from Stephen Fry, obviously. And we just want to highlight the struggles that they go through.
Yeah, can I just jump in, by the way? I wasn't that dismissive when you said I've been diagnosed
It's not about you,
ADHD.
is it? It's not about you.
Well, it is at the moment, right? Because it's my turn to speak. If I could just get a word in.
OK.
No, I didn't just dismiss it and go, no, you're not. The reason we came up with that title is because I was a bit sceptical at first, and then a load of people I know, comedians, identified as ADHD or were diagnosed. We went to see a comedy show one night, and two of my mates were doing an open mic spot, and every comedian that came on said, "Good evening, I'm ADHD." And I thought, wow, blimey, there really is some connection here. Or there's a profound misunderstanding of what's going on in their comedic brains. So that's what really sort of piqued my interest, and we decided to explore it by doing the podcast and getting as many comedians as we could on.
Have you ever thought about yourself in terms of...
No, there's nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with me.
Well, I've listened to a couple of the podcasts, and some of the traits, and obviously lots of people have these, talking over each other, you know, having to, you know, be the centre of attention, but you can be introverted as well. Having a very quick mind and having things, you know, having...
Well, somebody did point out to me that the Fast Show is like is a ADHD on screen, and I sort of take that on board. But I think for me, it's not because I found a path that's allowed me to sort of thrive, if you like. It's not an issue for me. Well, but I think that's what we try to highlight, Naga, is that if you don't find the path, Minna talks about it a lot, the school-to-prison pipeline. If you don't find a way out, it's very different. So it's all very well, you know, saying these comedians, they've done very well, or, you know, they're doing OK with their ADHD, but for a lot of people, it's a very different path.
And you make the point because you do interview very successful people, but and at the end you ask, yay or no, do you want it or don't you want it? And most keep it.
Most keep it. My old mate Simon Day
chose to get rid of it.
Simon Day, Fast Show, he hates it. You know, it's caused him real problems in life, you know, ball stool, you know, problems
But
with...
it
loads
hasn't
of-
been the problem. Society's been the problem. And
Well-
that's that gross failure to understand what these neurodivergent brains need in order to thrive, not just survive in life. And that's what I want to highlight through the podcast. And
Yeah.
I think the message is getting out there the more we discuss it.
I think it is.
Was there a risk, Paul, that if I'm not quite sure, and I have heard the podcast, you, in a way you're presenting yourself as a sceptic, but not really, because you're not a sceptic of the condition.
No.
There's sort of issues around it to a degree.
Yeah, I think it's the
But is there-
definition and...
do you think... I mean, it's putting a bit of a serious slant on it, but it's a serious subject.
Mm.
Are you in danger of being in the camp of people who say, oh, come on, you know, not everyone can... Just because you've got some problems doesn't mean...
Yeah.
Are you in danger of being in that camp?
Well, I think it's important to at least have, you know, one foot in that world so that we have a robust debate. If I just went, yeah, you're right, Minna, we wouldn't have much to debate. And I think... But my problem is more about the definition, and I think it is with you to an extent, isn't it?
No, all the way, not to an extent. It's absolutely unfit for purpose.
Yeah.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. We are not disordered. We don't have a deficit of attention. We have abundant attention if something is stimulating enough. And a lot of the times in schools particularly, again, I'm not teacher bashing, I am one, but the curriculum is very narrow. It doesn't allow for free thinking. There's a gross lack of play, movement. And that's what ADHD brains need, a lot of movement and a lot of play, a lot of time and space to think freely, and that's not happening.
You talk about the support as well for parents, because obviously you talk about how children deal with this and cope, but also you talk about the support that parents need to be able to manage their children in a system so that they can get the help as well.
Yeah, it's very tricky. I'm inundated with emails, phone calls from parents saying, please help me, you know, my child again is in isolation because they're not listening properly, they're not doing what the teacher tells them to do, they can't sit still. You know, so I'm writing letters, you know, communicating with schools on parents' behalf just to get more understanding and allow their children to learn in ways that are comfortable to them. You know, we don't do mass conformity very well, ADHDers. You know, we can't do 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. Yeah, so...
It's also extraordinary to ask, like, children, 5-year-old kids, to sit still in the
for
class.
8 hours of a day.
You know,
Who can
you're
do
good at
that?
it. You two are very good at sitting still. Look.
Well, relative. Well, I'm just trying to be polite, really.
We're just listening.
Can I ask you, Paul, so you were talking about the problems it can cause within families, I guess, children, parents or whatever, but within relationships too, within adults. And I'm just curious as to, and tell me what you will, I don't want to push you on this one, but,
No,
you know,
he's got the
when
patience
the
of a saint.
diagnosis came through, kind of compare before and after about what, if you were tolerant of, if I can use that word, of Minna's, what she was like.
I think I was already tolerant.
You are.
Know, I see I'm a
You
saint.
are.
She
You-
just said
you
it.
are. You are.
And let's end the interview here. Thank you, Paul Whitehouse, saint.
So it didn't make any difference to how you
because
were
I'm very
after the
conscious
diagnosis.
Well, not really, Charlie, because I'm very conscious of Minna's, how can I put it, problems or, you know, experiences that she's had to deal with. No, she had a very difficult childhood, very traumatic childhood.
That's the trauma, that's not the ADHD, but practically speaking, I do mess up on a daily basis and I get frustrated and I feel
What's
like
messing up?
I will book things, not turn up, get dates completely wrong, miss events.
Go to the wrong place.
Yeah, go to the wrong venues.
And are you
on the
highly
wrong dates.
organised?
I'm not highly organised, but I'm not bad, actually.
Right,
You know,
so that could be a frustration you could see.
It can be very
and
frustrating.
difficult to understand because I think if someone turns up late all the time or if someone forgets dates... No, it's very easy. I'm quite organised. I would think, well, you just don't care. It's rude.
Yeah.
You're not prioritising it and you're an adult. Why can't you just figure this
Yes,
out?
it is
It's not
frustrating.
hard.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We've
absolutely.
got Sarah Pascoe on our podcast this week, and she is not ADHD, but her husband is. So it was good getting her perspective as well and saying, you know, it's very frustrating. She's obviously very understanding, and they've got mechanisms to deal with it. But sometimes she just thinks, right, no,
Hey, how
enough, you know.
Lucy Porter had to rip off all her kitchen cupboard doors so as to remind herself what food she has so she doesn't keep buying the same foods because that lack of object...
Very practical solution, isn't it? Lose the doors.
I know Nagra asked you, Paul, earlier on about whether you'd thought about yourself. given what you know, and I'm presuming because you're doing this, you must be learning stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Are you tempted to? I mean, is there a bit of you that thinks? I know you said you're fine.
Yeah.
But are you still tempted to kind of
Well,
ask that
sometimes,
question?
Charlie, but I can't think in a way it's better that it's unresolved to an extent. If we're doing a podcast where we're trying to explore the boundaries and the definitions and the behaviour types, see, there are so many different types of behaviour that are lumped under the one umbrella, ADHD. That's where my scepticism comes from.
It's kind of...
I'm not dismissive of the behaviour, but
understood.
of the...
It's kind of none of my business in a way, but do you think Paul should get tested?
I think there's something going on there. I don't know whether it's ADHD or not. No, but we did some brain scans and no-go tests, actually. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
And it involved hitting the space bar when you see certain shapes of certain colours.
Certain triggers, yeah.
I rendered the entire programme dysfunctional within a second because I didn't wait for instructions.
She thought she was playing Bash the Crab, you know.
and that ruined the whole programme.
Yeah, we had to reset it, and I did brilliantly.
You did.
What did that prove?
That I have difficulty in... regulating my emotions, in holding off, thinking before I act. So, yeah, he came up tops. I didn't fare so well.
But there are other skills you bring to the table. It's not, like you said, ADHD is not a problem.
Oh,
it's a superpower in many ways.
I wouldn't go that far, but we are
Well,
brilliant.
some of your guests have.
Yeah,
Some of your
actually.
guests have.
Yeah. But it's something that I would challenge because, it then undermines and minimises the real difficulties that a lot of ADHDers do have on a daily basis. And
in
we
society.
do. But when we're supported, it's fantastic. It really is.
And I do think the way you talk about it in the podcast is very refreshing because sometimes
and passionate,
yeah, passionate,
passionate
absolutely. It's very real, and people think it's going to be very academic, very po-faced about it, and it's a entirely different approach. So it's interesting.
Also, I do worry about you two rowing a lot.
Yeah, any marriage counsellors do get in touch. Who happen to be tuning in.
I think it's all gone surprisingly well.
It's gone very well, hasn't it, so far?
You're a saint. Take it. There you
At
go.
last, canonised on the BBC.
Paul Minner, thank you so much. You can listen to I'm ADHD, No You're Not, on all major platforms.